You've asked what it would look like if 80% of teachers were really relationally engaged with kids. And I think it's, as a scientist, to say I don't know, because I don't think we've observed that. But I can tell you a lot about, what happens when kids are given a social skills curriculum, which, now we often think about SEL, which is broader than social skills. And what happens when the teachers are supported and they're given some kind of very, meaningful training in how to, work through kids' behavior as it shows up in a classroom, and what it means to really foster a community. And then parents are given workshops that are all complementary, right? And I've been fortunate to work on teams that have done really amazing research that shows when you do those three things. We've actually been studying a cohort of kids that had that in the 80s, and they're in their 40s now. And this is a little bit mind-blowing, I have to say. But these kids, some of them were in the intervention condition, some of them were in the control condition. And there was no other differences between these kids, right? And 40 years after the teachers got some training, the parents had some workshops, and the kids had some social skills, you can see differences in these kids' mental health, these adult mental health. When they're 40 years old, you can see differences. And it is in their well-being, but you can also see differences in their economic status. I mean, you can look at these groups of kids, some that got SEL interventions when they were in elementary school, some that didn't. And you can predict whether they own a house. And it was just this 1 year, that's the power of these things. Their blood pressure is different as a 40-year-old because of what happened to them in 5th grade. And I think that's some of the most amazing evidence that we have, that supporting adults and giving kids skills at the same time can produce that kind of effect. And if you really want me to blow your mind, they're 40, so they have kids. You can see differences in the behavior of their offspring based on based on which condition they were in. So it's so exciting that evidence is there, that what you do in 5th grade, what you do with the adults and the kids, shows up in 40-year-olds and shows up in a next generation of kids, doing things like changing health status, breaking cycles of poverty. And we can do it right now. When the Washington State Legislature got some of this information about if they could do this in their schools, they decided not to build a prison. They decided to reallocate their budget and said, we can do this in the middle school years, in elementary schools. It's going to cost some money, but the return on investment means we won't start building a prison. And that's evidence-based decision-making, but to think about that trade-off in the lives of humans, it's even more meaningful. So I wish we all made decisions like that.